Imagine life as a giant, heavy frying pan that just dropped you from a height of 10 feet. We all take sudden, high-impact falls at some point. The question is, what happens when we hit the floor? For some, the impact looks like an egg hitting concrete. The shell shatters. The trauma is total, creating a mess that simply cannot put itself back together. A tennis ball handles that exact same drop differently. It slams into the hard surface, absorbs the kinetic energy of the impact, and uses it to shoot straight back into the air. Resilience is the active decision to meet life's hardest, messiest moments, take the hit, and bounce back anyway. It means absorbing the damage without letting it break your spirit. Since resilience isn't a superpower granted at birth, something else must be happening. Specific mechanics in the human brain dictate whether we shatter or bounce at the precise moment of impact. Surviving life's biggest drops is less about engineering a world where you never fall and more about mastering your psychological response for the moment you hit the ground. At the exact microsecond a failure occurs, human psychology predictably splits down two distinct cognitive pathways. The downward path represents a fixed mindset. It interprets failure as a permanent, defining flaw, assuming the problem is ruinous and entirely your fault, leading to a shattered state. The growth mindset treats the exact same failure as temporary data. From this perspective, an obstacle is a detour, a challenge to find a new way forward. The narrative framework the brain assigns to the pain, rather than the severity of the drop itself, determines the difference between a catastrophic shatter and a powerful bounce. We often mislabel high achievers as naturals, a term that ignores the massive, early failures they had to absorb long before they succeeded. Think of a 15-year-old boy who loved basketball more than anything. He tried out for his high school varsity team, only to scan the list on the wall and find his name missing. He went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. That teenager was Michael Jordan. He used the humiliation of being cut as fuel, forging a growth mindset that drove him to outpractice his peers. As he later said, "I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Or consider a depressed single mother living on government welfare. She sat in a cramped cafe, writing a children's story while her baby slept. 12 different publishers in a row rejected her manuscript, calling it too long or unmarketable. That author was J.K. Rowling. She refused to let those 12 rejections define her worth, continuing to knock on doors until a deal was finally struck for Harry Potter. Historical greatness is the byproduct of relentlessly applying a growth mindset to world-class rejection. Training your resilience requires specific cognitive shifts that anyone can practice in their daily life. First, notice your internal self-talk. A definitive statement like, "I can't do this," acts as a hard psychological stop sign, shutting down the brain's ability to find a solution. You can shift the brain's problem-solving centers by simply adding one word, yet. Saying, "I don't know how to navigate this loss yet," gives your mind permission to begin looking for a way forward. Another shift involves managing your energy. Resilience drains rapidly when we obsess over chaotic variables we cannot alter. Think of a circle of control. Every stressor in your life is a data point that must be sorted either inside or outside this boundary. External events, like global news, the weather, or other people's opinions, belong outside the boundary. These items must be aggressively discarded to save your energy. Your effort, your attitude, and your self-compassion are the only metrics that belong inside. These require 100% of your focus. We also have to dismantle the trope of the lone wolf who survives trauma in total isolation. True resilience requires a pit crew, a network of peers or professionals who can provide external perspective and maintenance when you hit a breakdown. Real resilience is a comprehensive architecture of internal rules and external support systems.
Instead of fearing the fall, we can focus on absorbing the hit,
learning from the data, and using that momentum to bounce back higher than we were before.